The art group Men Who Paint are back with a new exhibit that's coming up October 14th and 15th at the Willows. And with me, two of the Men Who Paint. We have Greg Hargarten and Cam Forrester. So nice to have you both back in the studio.
Thanks for having us back here.
Well, no, we always have to do this, but I think it's important for maybe some of the people who aren't familiar. Greg, Men Who Paint are for how many people and how long have you been together and why that name?
We have now been together for 15 years. We're celebrating our anniversary this year. There's 5 of us.
Yeah.
We met at the Hargarten campus at the now defunct U of S remote campus at Emma Lake there. And we were the only men there, really. So Paul decided that's what we should be called, Men Who Paint.
Okay. And Cam, was it the kind of thing where right away there was this chemistry that, that we could actually be an art group as opposed to, after this Emma Lake thing, it's like, see you around.
No, it's funny, at Emma Lake, actually, one of the first nights we went out fishing, and we realized that in the entire time...
You're supposed to be painting. What are you doing fishing?
But the whole time, all we did was talk about color and paint. Look at the reflections. Oh, it was really a bit odd. And then after that, it was just, we just all talked about the same things about art, and then it just grew from there.
And Greg, many people know you as a musician here in Saskatoon, but were you always someone that was inclined towards the visual arts in terms of painting?
Not necessarily in terms of painting. I painted, in high school.
Sure. Okay.
But I always did, the band posters and all of that kind of stuff for not my groups and other groups as well. So always art, kind of.
So sort of graphically inclined, let's say. One of the things that's impressed me about Men Who Paint is that you just don't, stick to, Saskatoon and Saskatchewan. You have gone really quite far to check out some different locations. And can you just remind our audience some of the locations where the Men Who Paint have traveled to?
The furthest point was in Germany. We painted there a few years ago, but we've been Haida Gwaii, Algonquin Park, Ivavik National Park in the north end of the Yukon. Next spring, the intent is to paint in Newfoundland. So we're trying to get coast to coast and
coast to coast to coast.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think people might be surprised you did the European stint because most of what you've done is in Canada. Greg, are there some other European countries that you're going? After Newfoundland, we'd like to go to blank.
Well, we did a project with the U of S, sort of, their campus in Canmore, and met this painter, Russian painter, actually, who lives in Wales, and he's invited us to go to Wales, paint with him, and then have an exhibition there, and then that was right before COVID hit.
Yeah.
So we're still hoping to get there, but who knows?
And I know you each, among the 5 of you, you have different styles. But is there? When I first saw the Men Who Paint work, I was reminded of the Group of 7. Is it that sort of landscape kind of things that we're talking about, or is it?
For the most part, that's kind of where we are. We do a lot of plein air painting, so we're always on the outdoors, out in our landscape. Not as many street or city scenes, but mostly out in the countryside, forest, and so forth.
And you said, hey, we were out fishing and stuff like. Is that part of the attraction, Greg? Is that it's not only do you go out and paint, but there's other things. There's the enjoyment as opposed to just simply capturing the great outdoors.
Well, I'm not a fisherman.
Okay.
So I wasn't even fishing with them. That was before I knew them. But I feel like this is my fishing. Some people enjoy fishing because it's about sitting in the boat and just being silent and being out there. And that's kind of what we do, except we're painting in nature. We'll sit out in the wild and we won't even really speak to each other.
Okay.
For a couple hours.
Yeah.
Unless you're painting beside me, I guess.
The talking never stops.
So coming up on is Friday and Saturday?
Yes.
Okay. Friday and Saturday at the Willows. How many paintings will be on display? And I should ask, are they all for sale or?
All for sale.
Okay.
There's usually around 20 or so from each artist, so it'll be over 100 paintings.
Wow.
Anyway. Lots to see.
And last question: are there any giant paintings, or are they all Cause some people will do like big canvases?
Yes, there will be big. There are some large canvases.
Okay.
So a lot of the paintings that are in the show were painted in the field, Plein Air.
Oh, okay.
But then we take those paintings back to the studio, and they're sort of the basis for the larger paintings.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. If people want more information, there's a website to go to?
www.menwhopaint.com.
All right, it's pretty straightforward stuff. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. We look forward to seeing the exhibit and the show and sale at the Willows this weekend. So thanks again for being with us.
Thanks, Joe.
You bet.